What's going on, everybody? It's Joseph from Winhanced, and I am super excited to announce and show off the features of the 0.9 update of Winhanced. This is currently live for all of our Patreon supporters, and our current plan is to try to get this live for the public on Christmas Eve as a Christmas Eve present for everybody, but we'll see if that happens. So what I want to really go ahead and do is show off all of the different features that we have here. Everything from brand new library artwork and overall performance increases across the board. This is our most stable version of Winhanced yet. To a brand new sleep engine, the ability to remote play from your PlayStation, Xbox, gaming PC. There's just so much here. So let's talk about it. When you boot into Winhanced 0.9, you'll notice a few changes. One, we've done a little bit of a visual overhaul with the app. We've improved the overall design and fluidity of everything. You'll notice that the background is also changing as you're navigating through these different games here. And we'll explain what that is in just a second. But just overall, you'll notice that the library loading, everything just feels just a little bit more smooth. So a lot of work has gone behind the scenes in making this feel as seamless and as smooth as a console app. Now, those moving backgrounds, this is really living glass coming to life. But what you'll notice is some of them it doesn't load, but some of them it does. So what we're essentially doing is actually in the background, if it exists on SteamGridDB, we're actually importing and actually playing animated game art for the specific games that support it. So Hades 2 is actually one of them. But you might be saying to yourself, why are you doing that if you're just going to blur it and not show it? Well, I personally think it's actually very pretty. However, some people might not. So what we recommend is if you don't want to do this, you can actually navigate to the performance menu and you'll see this option for background blur. If you turn that off, now you have your full game art on full display. So you got Wuthering Waves, you got Hades 2, nothing for Roblox. You got some Honkai Star Rail. I think we have one for Dying Light. Yep, Dying Light's here. And so on and so forth. Genshin's really, really good looking as well. So this is a really, really fun feature that we've added in to improve the overall look and feel of the app and to give you guys a little bit more customization options for you performance conscious out there. When the animated game art is playing and Winhanced is actively open, so not in game, it does use about 300 to 500 tops megabytes of RAM. We actually cut the backgrounds when you go into a game so that you don't have to have any performance hits while you're actually playing. But there is a little bit of a performance hit here because of that, as well as like slightly more battery drain with these moving backgrounds. So if you are performance minded and you don't really care about this, as always with Winhanced, we try to make this as optional as possible. So if you do turn it off, it'll basically just pull in the standard static game art to work as the background instead. And this is operating at our standard 50 to 100 megabytes of RAM usage while live. Next up for you eagle-eyed viewers here, while I was showing off the backgrounds, you might have noticed that there are new settings menus. Yes, I finally went in and redesigned all of our settings menus and added full controller support to them. So let's quickly go through this so you can see what we have. So our new libraries menu looks very similar to how it was before. However, it is improved. So on the left-hand side, you'll have your different library options. So Steam, Game Pass, Epic Games, other games, which we'll talk about in just a second, and PlayStation, which we'll also talk about in just a second. But what I really want to show off here is the brand new other games import system. So previously, we used to make it so that you had to actually like navigate your file browser and find your games, and it would add it to the list here. We have changed that. So now there is this new Add Games button here. And when you select this, it's actually going to do a scan of all of the different drives on your computer or on your handheld, so it can take a little bit. But when it's done doing that scan, It's going to pull in all of like the different potential exe files. I'm trying to see if I can whittle this down to be specifically to games, but for now it's pulling in a lot of different types of apps. We've added in the ability to do search. So if you go up here, don't think the A button's working for the search bar yet. If you go into here, you can actually like search for your games. I think I already have all of my manual games that I wanted to have onto here already added. So let me see if I can like find a random one. There we go. Like, for example, it's pulling in Arc Raiders. If this was another game in a different library, I could actually select this and then add the selected game, which in this case, it's not going to let me add it because it's already added to my library through Steam. Actually, you know what? I'll show it by deleting a game. Deleted both of my games from the library here, but we'll go back to add games. And now we'll do another search. And we're going to search for, let's search for Honkai Star Rail, since that's my gacha game of choice. Add selected. It'll then go through the process of importing it, finding all of its game art, its metadata, just like it was doing before, and then it'll add it to your library. And you can see this by going back, and you can see it's up here in my library up top. And then obviously, if you go over to the other library, it'll be in there as well. About that PlayStation library, I did technically build the ability to actually check out the PlayStation Network and pull in your PlayStation games plus their artwork. However, I still have not figured out a way of getting those games to direct launch via remote play, which is what our feature within the app does. So for now, I've disabled the library import because I felt it was kind of useless other than just looking at your PlayStation library. But I did keep in the ability to do PlayStation Remote Play via two sources, either the official PlayStation Remote Play app or via Chiaki. Now, I personally recommend Chiaki because it has better controller support for handhelds. With the PlayStation Remote Play, you actually have to plug in a PlayStation controller to maybe make it work. But I understand that some people prefer using the official methods versus open source. So that's why we've included it. And then you can actually choose between auto, which will default to Chiaki if it's available, or manually choose between Chiaki or PlayStation Remote Play. And I'll show all of this in action in just a second, but I first want to finish going through the rest of the libraries. So next, we have a brand new, entirely redesigned performance page, which we were showing off just a second ago. What I really like about this page is on the left-hand side, you have your different toggles for all the different options that exist within Winhanced today. And then on the right-hand side, you actually have artwork that will, well, not artwork, but videos that will show like what each specific feature does, as well as like additional information underneath to talk about what exactly that feature does and like what are the benefits, pros, cons. So you can decide for yourself if it's something that you want to enable or disable in order to allow for as much transparency into the experience as we possibly can. And then our integrations page, also with artwork. Right now, we currently have an integration with Discord and PC game streaming. This still doesn't have artwork yet, but just like with Remote Play, we've built in the ability to actually install and open up Moonlight and Sunshine so that you can stream from any of your computers in the house. We'll talk about that in a bit as well. And then on the new Update Center page, this one's huge. We finally added back the ability for over-the-air updates for Winhanced directly within the app. So this is where those will show up. And right now, specifically for ASUS devices, but for more devices in the future, we've also added the ability to pull in drivers. So for your device, if it's an ASUS device specifically for now, we can actually search the web and pull in all of the different available drivers. And then you can actually go in and install whatever driver you want directly from Winhanced. So one less reason to go to Windows Desktop. Let's show off those different streaming options in action. So there's a few different ways to do this depending on the library that you're looking to access. We already talked about PlayStation, so let's do that one first. If you go to your library menu, you'll see that you now have Xbox Remote Play as well as PlayStation Remote Play. If you don't have Chiaki or the PlayStation Remote Play app installed, selecting this button here to open it will actually launch a wizard, which will walk you through the steps on helping you download it. and getting it ready so that you can actually use it. I've already gone through that process and set it up for ease of use here. So if you go through and I go ahead and select PlayStation Remote Play, you'll see a splash screen appear. This is it going through and using Chiaki to launch the PlayStation app. As you can see, we're launching into our remote play experience here. I believe my PlayStation was asleep, so it might take a few moments to fire up. So let's give it a second. And just like that, I am now in my PlayStation. I can play my games. This is awesome. Now to exit this, since it is using a separate app to do it, right now I have it built to where you would have to actually manually exit it. But that's okay. I think in the 1.0 release, if I can, I'll figure out a way to make this more seamless. But the fact that you can launch directly into Remote Play itself is so cool. Obviously, when you leave it, it'll go through this process and boom, you're back in your app. For the Xbox Remote Play, this is actually using the web interface, so no need to download any additional software. I do not have an Xbox, so I can't actually show this off, but I did test this with some users in our Discord, and they did confirm for me that this does actually work. So with this loading in, as you can see, you are booted into the web experience, and you would go through and set up your Xbox and everything, and basically launch your games from the remote play experience from here. And then same deal, you can exit out of it as normal. Now for PC streaming, we've actually made this process extremely seamless. The way that this works is, let's say you want to play a game. In this case, I want to play Wuthering Waves because I am just ridiculously addicted to gacha games now, and I need help. Please, someone send help. I'm not even kidding. Someone send help. But no, seriously. Basically, within the drop-down menu, which you can either access via the little drop-down menu next to the play button or by pushing Y on your keyboard, you have your options for play locally, set up cloud, which would set it up via xCloud if the game exists there, or stream from gaming PC. If you select the stream from gaming PC option, which I already have selected, you'll see that the play button updates to say stream. And then if you have not gone through this process yet, when you click the stream button, it'll actually load our brand new wizard for PC streaming setup. So in this case, it's basically just stating that you should download Sunshine onto your PC and set that up. And then install Moonlight onto this device, which I already have Moonlight installed. Otherwise, it'll have the download button for Moonlight for you, so you can download it directly from here. But from here, you would hit continue. It's then going to actually go ahead and do a scan of all of your devices on your network, and it's going to find your PCs that have Sunshine running. So in this case, there is my gaming PC. I'll select it. Let's see if I can do it with the controller. I can. Cannot. Cool to good to know. Select it, and then go ahead and hit continue. It'll then create a PIN. So I need to enter the PIN 3421 on my PC and my name of my device, which I'll do now. I entered the PIN via the Sunshine app on my computer, and as you can see, it is now paired. I can go ahead and hit continue. It will let me know that the pairing was successful. Hit continue. It's then going to ask you to enter in your Sunshine server's password and username and password, which I will go ahead and do off screen. And then once you've entered it, it's going to go in and actually sync all of the games that are currently found within your Winhanced library to to Sunshine on your desktop. And what this is essentially going to allow you to do is launch directly from Winhanced a remote play session that launches the game. So now that this is set up, it's going to go ahead and start Moonlight, start Wuthering Waves. It's going to switch over. It's probably going to make me select the authorization stuff like it always does. And now we just wait for Wuthering Waves to launch. Okay. Sometimes on the first launch, it'll do a fake reset like that. But as you can see, it's now in the game and launching it. And boom, just like that, I am now able to just launch a remote play session from my computer for any of the games that I have installed there. It's so cool. To exit out of Moonlight, if you've never done it before, it's select, start L1, R1 together. It'll quit Wuthering Waves, and it'll quit it within Winhanced. It'll end the session on your computer, and you'll be right back into Winhanced. Next up, I have a quality of life update that I want to share with folks, and that is that we have added support for desktop mouse mode within Winhanced. It's one of my favorite features of Armoury Crate, and I was really missing it in Winhanced. So now, with the double click of your right stick, it'll enable mouse mode, and then you can actually use your right mouse to actually navigate desktop mode. So if I was in desktop mode, I could then go up here, I can minimize the app, and then I could use it to mess around. And if you want to go back into controller mode, you double click the stick again, and you're right back into controller mode. I tapped the screen to make the arrow go away. I'm still trying to figure out a way to make it do that automatically, because right now it doesn't do it for some reason, which is weird. By now, I know what a lot of you guys are probably thinking. Joseph, all of this is well and good, and I love all these cool library features, but like, did you do anything for actually gaming? Because that's what I do on my device. Well, yes, we did. We've actually added a full library or per game profile support back from our legacy app to this app. So the way this works is when you launch a game, you'll go through the process. We've also added additional support to our splash screen to hide itself when certain windows appear so you can interact with them and not get stuck. You also have the ability to abort a launch or hide this overlay manually for whatever reason. And once the game launches, we'll show off some cool new features. All right, looks like we're launching here now. So next up, if you open up the Winhanced overlay, we have added in this update per game profiles. And essentially what this will do for you is if you have this toggled on, the different settings that you set for the different games that you're playing will automatically save for that specific game. Similar to what ASUS and Xbox just introduced with Armoury Crate, but ours is actually a little bit more advanced because it not only does it for TDP and performance profiles, but for your refresh rate as well. So it'll automatically set your refresh rate for you when you're in the game. We've also made improvements to autopilot, where now autopilot will recognize when it's on battery and when you're off battery, and it'll take special precautions and special tweaks to preserve battery life even more by doing things like lowering the refresh rate to a lower refresh rate, as well as lowering TDP even more in order to allow for longer battery life depending on the game that you're in. And with this new game profile feature, this is on an individual basis. So whatever settings you set for one game won't necessarily carry over to the other one unless you want it to. Also, and lastly with this, what we've also done is when you go in and you actually exit a game, which you can do through Winhanced or whatever method you want, I'm going to do it through Winhanced, we now keep you in the app. So it's going to let you know that you're exiting Hades 2, and then in a few moments, it'll do the reverse animation and let you back into the app so you can continue navigating around like you normally would. Lastly, on the device performance side, we've actually introduced a brand new sleep engine, which is another machine learning model which runs locally on your device at time of sleep and at time of waking up. It's included in our enhanced sleep features, and its entire purpose is when you put your device to sleep, new sounds, by the way. When you put your device to sleep, it's actually going to work under the hood to do some additional steps to disable things that would usually wake up the device, as well as do a basic analysis of like where your battery was when you put it to sleep and where your battery was when you woke it up. And the entire goal of the model is actually over time, since it's a local model for your device, it teaches itself how your specific device handles sleep and what usually will wake it up and or keep it from having a good sleep, and put actions into place to prevent that in future sleeps. This feature is currently testing. So I've been running it on my device probably for about a month now. And honestly, the Winhanced procedure is already so good that it hasn't really found a lot of spurious wake incidents to stop. But I can see within the logs, which I'll put up on the screen here now so you can see what it kind of looks like. It is going through and it's teaching itself like what wakes things up, what's causing performance loss while it's waking up, and it's teaching itself how to make your device sleep better as you continuously use Winhanced. So that is really, really cool. And then when you wake up your device, just like before, it'll bring you right back into the app. It'll go through a couple of procedures. If you had a game running, it'll unfreeze the process, bring it back, and you can actually get in and start playing again. We've also enhanced our onboarding experience to make it even more fluid and easy for brand new users to enhance, which I'm hoping a lot of you watching this will be new users. And I want to walk you through that onboarding experience. We first have to close the app. So what I also want to show off is our brand new closeout menu. If you close that, if you push the B button or the power button in the top right, you will now have the ability to sleep your device, hibernate your device, restart or shut down, or quit to desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and quit to the desktop now so that I can show you the onboarder. With the 0.9 release, since there is just so much new here, I thought it made sense to actually enhance our onboarding experience to make it better for folks. So within the onboarder now, there's a few different steps. So when you click Get Started, first it'll identify your device. So in this case, it recognizes that I'm on an ROG Ally X. And over here on the right-hand side, it is letting me know of all the different features of Winhanced that is supported for my specific device. When I select continue, it gives me the option to go through and set up my different libraries. I need to build in controller support for the onboarder. So for now, you would go through and select it like so, but it's very familiar to what I was showing in the app for these different settings. Once you've gone through and set it all up, or you can skip it for now, it then shows you some additional options to optimize your experience. These are some of the options that you were seeing within that performance menu. So we have things like launch at startup, enhance sleep wake, remap hardware buttons, all this fun stuff. You can turn all this on. It's usually off by default, but I didn't delete my settings file specifically, so I didn't have to like manually reset everything. But you can choose what you want on, what you want off. Clicking continue will then take you to our privacy notice. So one thing I always call out is transparency with Winhanced is we do some anonymous statistics tracking within the app. Nothing in regards to collecting your personal information, library, user IDs, nothing like that. The only thing that we collect statistics on is specifically what are the features that people are using, as well as like basically an anonymous device hash that essentially lets us know that you are a user of Winhanced, so we can see how many people are actually using the app. However, you can choose to opt out of that. As a matter of fact, we have it opted out by default, but we would love it if you did opt in so that we can know how many people are actually using our app. You hit continue. It lets you know that you're all set. It gives you a few extra tips here, letting you know that you can double tap the R3 button. You can access the different settings from the settings menu. Let you know what processes you've gone through and set up. As you can see, all of this stuff was set up because I didn't delete my settings file. And then when you launch Winhanced, it will take you through our brand new library import feature, which is probably the biggest thing we fixed for this release of the app. And that is that now we get you into this app extremely fast. On this first import, all it's essentially going to do is look through your Steam, Xbox, and Epic Games installed game libraries, and if you added any other games at the beginning, import those only, the installed ones. And then once you're actually into the app, it's going to go ahead and install everything else in the background, which I'll show off as soon as we get in. So for users of the app previously, you know that that was actually something that took a very, very long time. Sorry, y'all, I had a bug and I had to delete additional files. That's why the artwork wasn't showing up. That actually won't happen to you on your first launch. It's specifically because I'm testing this... So anyway, when you've loaded in, it will start actually importing all of your games in the background, and it'll only import your installed games and your installed library. And then it'll add your other games that are not installed over time, and then it'll actually like update and bring those in as you go. But you're actually in the app now, so if you wanted to, you could go in, you could launch a game, you could start playing. If I wanted to play Honkai Star Rail, I could start playing Honkai Star Rail now. I don't have to wait for those games to be imported anymore, which was one of the biggest asks we had from everybody. So now, no need to worry. You can just get in, start playing your games, and when you want to install a game, you can install a game, but no more waiting 45 minutes to play. Had to swap over to the phone because the camera died. Horrible timing. But luckily, that's pretty much everything we wanted to show today. So I really want to just go ahead and say thank you to everybody for the continued support of Winhanced. It has been a pleasure to continuously work on this for you all. Just so you know, these updates you can expect to go live, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, hopefully Christmas Eve. It really just depends on if myself and my co-developer can go ahead and build the installer file by then. But I do want to have it out as a Christmas gift. I do want to give a huge shout out to all of our Patreon supporters, especially Raven, who is one of our Patreon producer tier members. If you want to support the project and if you want to continue to get features early, definitely go to our Patreon. It's in the description down below. Any amount helps continuous development of this application, but obviously this is a completely free tool that anybody can use, and we're just so happy that we can bring it to you all. But yeah, that's going to do it for 0.9, y'all. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.